It's rare, but every now and then the Chinese make a pretty decent horror film. And I think I might have just uncovered another one. The Pen Fairy has been a very popular subject for Chinese horror movies. She's based on a traditional game that Chinese children play, similar to an Ouija board, which explains why most Pen Fairy movies get the Bunshinsaba title, to take advantage of the popularity of the Korean and subsequent Chinese movie series. But in this movie, Bixian the Pen Fairy gets some help, because in this movie, she's going up against something new. And it's strangely enjoyable. Hi, I'm the Artie Dans, and welcome to episode 14 of my Chinese horror movie reviews, where I'm going to answer the question, should you watch Bunshinsaba, Hoichi the Earless? Just a note before we continue, this movie is available to members only on the Youku YouTube channel, which is where I watched it. Yume lives with her sister, who has been looking after her since their parents died in a house fire when they were young. Sick of living in her shadow, Yume attempts to jump off a bridge, but her sister manages to save her. While pondering what happened, Yume picks up a strange wooden figure of a female child off the street and takes it home. And slowly but surely, strange things start to happen. She gets a promotion at work, but then suffers some bullying. Then, her bully mysteriously ends up dead. After researching the origins of the wooden figure, she, accidentally, makes a blood sacrifice to it, unleashing the spirit within, the Thai spirit of Kumanthong, in this film known as Rayna. With the spirit causing more chaos in her life, she enlists the help of two goofy ghost hunters. Using a bunch of strange devices, they call upon Bixian, the Pen Fairy, for assistance. But Bixian's not strong enough to defeat Rayna, so they take the ultimate risk to call upon Bixian's eternal enemy, Sadako, in the hopes that the two spirits can work together to defeat Rayna. This is a very good question, because it makes no sense for this film. Hoichi the Earless is a Japanese legend about a lute player who was bewitched by ghosts. Upon realizing what had happened to him, a local priest painted a sutra on Hoichi's body, and he was instructed to ignore the ghost when it appeared before him again. Following the priest's orders, Hoichi ignored the ghost as it called for him. Seeing nothing but a pair of ears, as the sutra had rendered Hoichi invisible, the ghost ripped them off and returned to his master. Upon returning to Hoichi, the priest realized he'd made a grave error by not scripting the sutra on Hoichi's ears. Hoichi was free of the spirit and became a famous musician. The story of Hoichi the Earless is featured in the 1965 Japanese horror anthology Kwaidan, and a statue of him can be found at the Yakama Shrine in Yamaguchi. So we can see that Hoichi is clearly male and clearly Japanese. So where the hell is he in this film? No part of his legend is featured in this film at all. Not only that, but even Sadako's story is butchered. And don't even get me started on the Kumanthong. A bit more confusion here, as Kumanthong is supposed to be a male child. A fetus of an unborn child covered in gold leaf used to bring fortune and wealth. In this movie, the Kumanthong is the statue Rayna, a spirit born with twin pupils. What does that even mean? Anyway, Rayna is clearly female, so that makes her a Kuman Ni. Confused? Well then, let me introduce you to one of China's favorite horror movie spirits, Bixian the Pen Fairy. She's the hero of the movie, which is strange because she's really supposed to be an evil spirit, or a vessel for a spirit. You see, Bixian is the spirit you call when playing the Spirit of the Pen game, a popular game with high school students that resembles playing with an Ouija board. Recently in Chinese horror movies about Bixian, she's been portrayed as a good character, and in this movie, it's no different. If you've watched any of the Chinese horror movie reviews on my channel, you'll know that Chinese horror movies can only end in one of three ways, and this movie indeed uses one of those three methods. But it's not a cop-out like you would think. Think of this movie as what Southeast Asian horror films were like at the turn of the decade, but if they had better CGI effects. This film has all the hallmarks of that J-horror style. The long-haired ghosts, creepy whispering, demented figures, exaggerated movements. It's all here, and surprisingly, it's all well done. Seasoned horror movie fans are not going to be impressed with this. It is a teen horror movie after all, but for what it is, it's pretty damn good. Part of what makes it good is not only the spirits who fight each other, the rather detailed world that's built around them, and the logical and simple enough story to follow, although it is a bit stupid. It's also the two ghost hunting characters. They're goofy and they're not afraid to poke fun at each other and the genre. Without them, this movie would have been trying to take itself far too seriously. But with them, we know that the movie knows it's here to have some fun. And there are some decent special effects in this movie, including some fairly decent horror scenes. Again, stuff you've seen before, but refreshing coming from China. I'm not going to spoil exactly how this one ends, but if you've seen The Haunted Road or the other movies in the series and thought that ending was okay, then you'll be satisfied with this ending as well. Using my patent pending ghost rating, which stands for great horror or stupid trash, this movie gets 4 ghosts. Seriously, while this is a good 20 years behind what the Japanese and Southeast Asians have been producing, this is nonetheless a phenomenal effort for the Chinese. A bit of trivia before I go. This movie was supposed to be the third in the Bunshinsaba vs Sadako series of films. Sometime in 2019, a few tweaks were made, and this film is the result instead. I would also very much recommend Bunshinsaba vs Sadako 2, as it's a very similar storyline to this film, but focusing on the two spirits instead. It's a fun movie, and can be found in full on YouTube with English subtitles. But back to this movie, the ending is very palatable. And that's the biggest challenge with Chinese horror movies, getting the ending right. If you've seen this, what did you think? Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to press the like button and consider subscribing to support the channel.